Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and Samurai Jack is back after last week where we had a little bit of an April Fool's joke where they kept repeating the same Rick and Morty episode over and over again on Adult Swim. And I felt that was pretty clever of Adult Swim, but Samurai Jack is back, and I definitely feel that this episode had a very different feel to it as compared to the first three. So when you look at the first three episodes of Samurai Jack thus far, it had a very survival-esque theme placed on it, where you see individual people and robots trying to kill Jack, where you see Scaramouche the Merciless trying to kill him, you saw that huge beetle, that beetle droid trying to kill Jack, and then, you know, you saw the 7 daughters of Raku going after Jack, and how Jack was forced to kill one of them, and he eventually had to kill all of them. I personally thought maybe the other 2 daughters were still alive. We still don't know for a 100% fact their characters could still exist out there, but from what it seems from this episode, it seems like Ashi is the only survivor. And you get a feeling in this episode that it was more about the character development of Jack and Ashi, which is going to be changing throughout the series. So Jack sees Ashi on the ground, presumably dead, but she immediately jumps up, starts trying to attack him, and Jack uses her chain to kind of spin her around and actually lock her up. And interestingly enough, a monster actually, comes out of nowhere and attacks them. And as this monster's attacking, Ashi's like trying to headbutt Jack. She cuts him, like she's still trying to kill Jack, which is so hilarious that despite the fact that she's tied up, Jack clearly doesn't want to kill her. She's still going at it, and she knocks herself out, and Jack ties her up. So they go into this monster's body, and I really loved the sequences inside of the monster's body, because this reminded me a lot of Dragon Ball, where Goku and Vegeta were in Super Boo's body, and despite the fact that you're super powerful or you're very well trained, in the case of Jack and Ashi, these creatures on the inside still pose like a major threat. And it's interesting to see that Jack and Ashi are inside of this creature's body. You see all these bug crab-like creatures attacking, and Jack, using his wits and skills, he cuts off one of those legs and starts slicing up all those bug-like creatures. And the coolest thing about this is that despite everything that Jack did, Ashi was still trying to attack him. So while he's fighting off these bugs, he also kind of has to defend himself from Ashi, who's chained up but still trying to attack him. And you can see that it's really frustrated Jack, so he takes like the chain and like makes a book bag of it. So like now Ashi can't move, so she's literally like on his back like a book bag. And they're moving around, Jack is killing all these creatures. They get out of there, and the really cool thing that happens next is the recurring theme we've seen in Samurai Jack this season thus far that has been greatly emphasized as compared to the earlier seasons. And this would be the fact that Jack's mental sanity has decreased so much. You see a scene where Jack is talking to this, I guess you could say, like this cotton-like creature that's like communicating with him, about, hey, you're in here. And then after this, you see, after Jack like blows away, this cotton-like creature in his hallucination, he starts talking to himself all over again, and this has been the same thing. We always see that ghost-like Jack in the robe, and he's telling her about Ashi, and this Jack-like creature is very, very, very blunt and straight to the point. Like his conscience is always telling him, you could just forget about her. She's not worth it. Do what you have to do. And as this is happening, the crab-like creature like grabs her and takes her up, and Jack, the badass he is, he grabs that spike flower-looking shit and just like kills him. We see him off screen. The little crab thing ends up dead. He saves Ashi again, and I love the line when Ashi was saying, I would rather be that creature's excrement, in other words, shit. I would rather be that creature's shit than be saved by you. And I lost it when I'm like, it's like, this guy just saved your life 3 times, and you're still talking shit. And you see, like, throughout this whole episode, Ashi is continuously just talking over and over again. And the episode did a great job of having Jack act, once again, without speaking. As you can see, his facial expressions are just coming to life. And he's like, like, this dumb bitch is just saying this stupid shit over and over again about how I'm so fucking evil, and I'm the worst guy in the world, but I just saved her life 3 going on 4 times, and she's still talking all this shit. So then you see Jack loses it, and I lost it at this part. Jack loses it, and he puts her ass down. And Jack is like, listen, you have it all wrong. Like, you can see his frustrations building up. He's like, Aku is the evil one. Like, I'm the good guy. Like, you know, he's twisted your mind and your world. Like, he ruined this place. That's why we have all these monstrous creatures. This is all his doing. I have nothing to do with this. You know, and it's just so funny because you can see such bent up frustration from Jack from, you know, all of these moments going out. And after this, you know, there was like a needle rain that starts to take place, and Jack and Ashi get out of there. And to me, guys, honestly, this was by far the best scene in the entire episode to me. So when Jack is sitting down with Ashi and they have all these needles in them, Ashi had the funniest expression on her face as Jack is like pinching out the needles and she's just looking at him with that scowl, evil look, and the episode like zooms into her face to see like her expression does not change in the slightest. And Jack is like picking out the little needles and she's just looking at him with that scowl, and Jack is like, you know, people pay for this. This is acupuncture. And she's just looking at his ass. And I love that scene because it shows that she's not broken yet, you know, and it still shows that despite everything, like, she's so, like, mentally programmed. She's literally a robot. Like, that's what the theme of this episode was to me. She is literally a robot that has to be deprogrammed in order to have her sanity back, because she is the same exact thing as robot. She just has a human body. As you see, she's not being able to be broken after all of what's going on. And I just love that scene and the dialogue. Well, not much dialogue, but the interactions between all of them. And then later on, you see Jack is taking her and he puts on his armor and he's like, huh, I like the back fur on this armor here. And she's like, you look hideous. And Jack is like, well, at least we're going somewhere. Now you're talking to me in somewhat of a nice fashion. Thanks for the compliment. You know, so they're going on. Ashi's still not broken. There's a scene where Jack is trying to climb up and she's trying to throw him down, so he has to make her all the way at the bottom. So she's definitely not broken yet. And the real climax of action in this episode would then come into the scene where we see Jack in that, you know, that part of the creature's body where there are all those flying creatures, and he has to find a way to get out the top. Kind of like, you know, like a whale, how like the whale has that little hole that they blow air through. It's kind of similar to that, and Jack has to jump out all those flying creatures, and there's like this skeleton-like fish that's like chasing around people in there. So I don't know what the hell this fucking creature is, but this is some weird-ass creature. I mean, whatever his damn diet is, he has a weird-ass diet to have all of this shit inside of him. But, you know, so Jack is jumping all these flying creatures. It's kind of like a little video game where it's like you jump on the creature and you're trying to like stare it to get to the top, but you fall down, but you're still trying to get up, while Ashi's just kind of like there. And there were a lot of close calls, because if Jack falls, you know, obviously he would fall in the acid. And, you know, he eventually makes it out by like jumping at the last second. So that they did a good job of creating tension in that scene, because Jack has literally no margin of error in this scene, because if he falls, he's dead, or, you know, that creature could also bite him. So it's a lose-lose situation if Jack fucks up, and I think they did a good job of trying to add a great sense of tension and pacing for that scene. And they come out, Ashi's knocked unconscious, and, you know, Jack obviously grabs her. They swim to a nearby island outside of the creature, and this to me was a brilliant example of well-used imagery. You see that Ashi, despite her robotic programming as a child, is still a human on the inside, because she remembers the little, you know, ladybug that, you know, she saw as a child. And she saw the ladybug once again after she picked up her weapon to try and kill Jack while he was like taking a nap off guard. Or he wasn't really taking a nap, he was just kind of just out of his zone. And you see, she's thinking about killing Jack while he's off guard. But then she sees this bug, and it kind of like reprograms her into thinking, the High Priestess killed this bug, but I have a chance to see nature in its peace. And you see how Jack is so peacefully interacting with nature. And you see, like, with her facial expressions, that Ashi is changing on the inside. Like, she's no longer the same ruthless killing machine that she was before. Like, she's now broken. It's like she's literally snapped. Like, she understands, Jack has saved my life. I'm free. I don't have to kill him anymore. Maybe what I've been programmed as a child to think is over. I can move on with my life and I can just chill. And I loved it. It was such a great transition in the episode to see her being ruthless, then slowly softening up by just calling him hideous and still, you know, fighting back with, you know, trying to throw him down, but then ultimately slowly progressing into becoming peaceful. And I think the episode did a great job of doing that. It was a much slower paced episode. The action wasn't as violent, you know, obviously with hand-to-hand combat as others, but I thought it was a brilliantly executed episode. And let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys, because this to me is easily a 5-star episode. All Samurai Jack episodes have been 5 stars each. They've all been great. I mean, the criticisms are very minimal. I mean, for this episode, my only real criticism would be, I wish they probably showed a little bit more of Ashi's backstory into her reprogramming to mix it in with how Jack's mental sanity is lost. But that's more so of the thing I wish they added more. Other than that, I'm curious to know more about Ashi and Samurai Jack, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. And I'm curious to see your thoughts on this episode because I thought it was brilliant, well executed, and let me know what you think.